simulator test and even otherwise. So we are going to take up three things today with respect to prelims examination 2020. Uh, so the first thing that we are going to take up is with respect to simulator test and how to make good use of them, how to use them to your advantage. The second is for those of you who are getting in the range of anywhere in the range of 30, 40, 50, 60, or even 70 to 75, 80 marks if you're getting in this range. All right, so this is for you, how to increase your score in the subsequent about 7 weeks or times that we have right now. So how to increase your know. And lastly, we'll talk about mistakes and some rules, basic rules that we have to keep in mind. So the first thing I want to tell you here is that with respect to the simulator test, please simulator test, those of you writing it. All right, there are about, we have 8 tests that are there. All right. So first thing I want to tell you here is that see these 8 tests are completely benchmark tests. By which I mean to say is that uh, they are created with an idea uh, such that they are going to simulate a previous year paper. All right, so that you are prepared for all types of examination scenarios and you are not surprised. So it is not a, you must be aware, it's not a balanced paper every test. What it does is it tries to simulate every year for the past 8 years, and therefore you are likely to have one of those combinations coming in the actual examination. Now, here, why I'm emphasizing on the benchmark test, by which I mean to say is that here, instead of your ranks, your score is very crucial. All right, because in any test series, what happens is that uh, ranks becomes important usually, but in simulator test, instead of your rank, that your score that you get becomes very important. All right, obviously one reason is that because the tests are online, so people may be using, some people may be just out of a maturity, may be using unfair means and getting very high scores. And that is why we are not concerned about people scoring like 180, 190, or 160, 150. So they may be scoring, so you don't have to be bogged down about people getting that score. What you have to be actually concerned is about if you're meeting the cutoff or not. Why I'm saying this uh, is because, see, if you've seen the simulator 1 and simulator 2, the second simulator did not have too many questions on polity. Hardly 4 5 questions of polity could have been there. All right, so suddenly you can't be surprised that you can't be writing a balanced paper and having all the subjects. So what may happen is that, for example, if polity if is less in one of the tests, so the score is likely to fall as it has fallen if you have seen for simulator second test. So here again, I want to tell you here is that please focus on the cutoff. We have not declared the cutoff so far, but for मान के चल लीजिए कि for simulator 1 the cutoff is between 100 to 105, which means, and for simulator 2 the cutoff is between 90 to 95 marks. Again, I'm stressing a lot on this is because, excuse me, I'm saying it's because if you're getting, ideally in test may you should be getting anything above 105 marks, 110 to 120, and people are getting that. So I'm in touch with a lot of students who they are getting this marks, and if you're not getting this marks, then you are missing the cutoff. All right, so it is not like, by which I mean to say is that if you're missing the cutoff, you are missing it today, which means that you need to up your preparation in the coming examination, coming tests. All right, it is not, here I want to emphasize is that it is not that naturally, if you don't do anything, your marks will improve. That is not going to happen. All right, and even if, for example, in this test, if you've gotten 75 or if you've gotten 80 or 85, all right, or even if you've gotten 89 marks, so I would say that that is not a good score. Why it is not a good score? Because you are not meeting the cutoff. You have to clear the cutoff anyhow in the simulator test. All right, so this is very important, so take it very seriously, and uh, make sure that you write the test from 9:30, the designated time 9:30 to 11:30, no matter how you feel. Again, I would want to tell you here is that even if you score 30 marks, 40 marks, 50 marks, that is not a problem. The problem is whether we are making progress or not. See, right now, there will be students who may be, those of you who are not scoring in the best of ranges. So there will be students who may be scoring, let's say, 30 or 40 marks more than you. What I want to tell you here is that even if you're not perfect, 7 weeks or 8 weeks is a perfectly good amount of time where you can increase and enhance your score, but then you have to make progress every single day. If you miss any of those time windows, if you miss any of these time windows, and let us see if you're, then we have a problem. Here, what we have to do is you have to make progress every single day. So even if you make 2% progress every single day or 3% progress every single day by not giving up, then I think that over a period of sustained effort of 15-20 days, you will be in a much better position than currently. All right, so I'll briefly tell you then how to make this progress and how to, all right. So here, with respect to making progress, all right. See, first thing is that if you're in the range of 30, 40, 50 marks, 50, 60 marks, if you're in this range in the simulator test, iska matlab hai, let us be very honest, because it is a good time to have tough love right now. All right, so if we accept the reality, if we accept that there's a problem, then we will have a scope of improvement. If we don't accept anything, so you may have to introspect and look within, and you may have to find out why we are scoring in this range. And given that the cutoff, lowest cutoff, as I said, for simulator 2 is around 90 marks. All right. So if you're in this range, then there are two or three major reasons for it. The first reason is that what you have been writing tests for some time now, and if you're scoring in this range, it means that whenever you attempt a paper, you are not even willing to analyze the paper, not even willing to see how many questions, I mean, from which topics I got the questions wrong, and you're not willing to work on making them any better. So that is one problem. All right, so only when we get caught in a certain this range and a 30 to 60 marks. This range only means that we are not improving. If you are writing a test, there are certain ways and means where we have to improve the marks. All right, so how do you improve the marks? See, in simulator test, be very clear that you have to use, two approaches. All right, the first approach obviously is that you make a, see, in both these approaches I will tell you, first approach is obviously you see the key plus solution. All right, you can see the key press solution, and remember that if there is a question which is coming from standard book which you should not have gotten wrong, if you're doing that, then it means that you cannot take guarantee for, whatever you have studied. आपने जो पढ़ा है उसकी गारंटी आप नहीं लेते हो, तो उन चीज़ों पर आपको वर्क करना पड़ेगा. So when I say that, look for the key in solution. Here, what is expected is that you make a star mark over all the questions where some new information is there. Put it with a, underline it with a red pen or whatever marker, or you can make it note it down in a separate. You can note it down in a separate notebook itself, and make sure that you remember this fact throughout. All right, and this is something that is a very common strategy. But more than this, I would also want to tell you is that you may probably in a paper, because see, if you are scoring between 30 to 60, it is very likely that by now you will be having very low motivation. All right, you would not be want to write the test. Writing the test, you will not have a motivation to write the test. And trust me, when we do not perform to, the motivation sustaining is extremely difficult. So how do we move ahead with the cycle? See, if you're getting 30 to 60 marks in any of the test, the only way to get motivated and sustain motivation to write for the test, or even clear the examination with flying colors, is to kill those papers. In papers se badla lena hai. All right, then how do we take this badla? How do we take our sweet revenge on these papers? So let us say you have attempted simulator 0 or simulator 1 or simulator 2. If you are getting whatever is the question, whatever is score you are getting, I would say in this approach, that is the second approach, here what I would say is that first thing is make a list of topics from which you have gotten questions either wrong or not attempted. As I said, is you have gotten the questions either wrong or not attempted. You have to make this list. Here again I will say is that you do not look and find out the answer. You just see that which questions are wrong. If it is a wrong question or if it is not attempted question, then I'm going to note down from what topic the question is asked, and I'm going to read that topic from the book. See, this approach requires you not to read the solution. All right, because see clearly if it is you're reading the solution and if you're not internalizing, so this technically is, uh, if you could have read the solution and you would have improved by now, you would have done it. But that's not working out for you. And secondly is that it is not a good approach to solve 15, 20,000 questions and read solutions and then have some fragmented preparation. What I would recommend is don't read the solution, you see the answer key. All right, see what is the list of topics from which I've gotten questions wrong. Go and read from two sources. The first source is your static book from where you encountered that question. All right, so make a, if for example if the question is on financial emergency and you've gotten the question wrong, then you must go and take a look at your Lakshmikant or whatever standard source from which you have read it. All right, from which you have read it, and read it again. Also try to make some prediction. For example, if you are getting a question wrong on financial emergency, it is very likely that other question can come from national emergency. Make sure you also try to read allied topics. All right, make sure you also try to read allied topics and prepare it. So for example, now there's this candidate, a good candidate. All right, so she has sent a screenshot of how she's been working, and only today. So let us say that she's gotten certain questions wrong. In a sheet of paper, please track your performance, that if you've gotten 55 correct and 40 wrong. All right, here again I want to say one thing. Here again I would want to say one thing is that uh, if you're getting see, we cannot get more than 21 questions wrong. 21 is the golden number, where 21 questions is other we cannot get wrong. All right, assuming that you are attempting about 90 questions. 21 questions, after 21 questions, any question that we get wrong is a red mark. If we cross the barrier of 27 questions getting wrong, then we are in trouble. After 30 questions, if we have gotten wrong, then we are nearly out of the game. All right, so be very careful that why I'm saying this is based on a calculation, right? That 90 questions if you attempted, 21 questions you are getting wrong. तो हमारा कितना हो गया? What is the score that we are getting? All right, so 21, 90 minus 21, that is the number of correct answers. That means 69. All right, and minus 7, that is one third negative marks of 21. That is minus 7 questions again. So 69 minus 7 becomes 62. We get something around 120. All right, so this is, I would say that in the past 5 years average, if you take, then 120, around 120 is something that you should aim for scoring. All right, you shouldn't be thinking ki cutoff kitna hai. Don't set the bar so low na that the bar is so low for you that 95 is the cutoff, then you're not able to think beyond 95 marks. You have set the bar so low. Once you set the bar high, it is you then you start working. Because let's say you're getting 85 marks and you want to score 90 marks and you're just satisfied with that, then 90 with that, the progress is so low that it is difficult to put an enormous effort for it. All right, anyway, having said here is that once 21 से 30 का barrier breach होता है, let us say you have gotten 30 questions wrong, so this means that 60 is the correct questions and minus 10 will be because of the 30 negative questions. So 60 minus 10 is 50, so 100. If we are here, then we get 100 marks and then we are in the red zone. All right, we'll always be in trouble. So make sure this doesn't happen. Yes, coming back to this making list thing is, so let us say this candidate, for example, wrote one of the simulators, and she saw that she got the questions wrong. Now she's gotten a question wrong, or he or she has gotten a question wrong from RPA Act, from locust attack, which was in current affairs, from Supreme Court, original jurisdiction, seat of amalgamation of banks, nuclear proliferation treaty. These are very conventional topics. Crude palm, oil import, 15 finance commission, history, personality, early maritime sea route, long-term repo operations, or constitutional morality, epidemic act, which is very much in news, 1897. All right, so Operation Vanilla, JNK, I know. So if you have to make a list of these topics, all right, so once you have made a list of seats, this is a good list that has been made by this candidate. You must have such list right now. All right, this will help you navigating through the day. So once you make this list of topics, once you have this list of topics, all right, the second step that is needed is, once you made this list of topics, the second thing that is for the first step is this list of topics. Remember, here again I said is you will not be referring to the key. You will be referring to the key just to see which questions are wrong or not attempted, but you will not be referring to the solution. You're not going to read the solution, one solution. You have to develop problem solving skills. All right, you have to develop problem solving skills, not just mindlessly reading the solutions and then you've read hundreds of solutions. Whenever we have to study, our goal will be that we should study from where we have studied the first time. All right, जहां पर हमने पहली बार पढ़ा वहीं से एक जगह से पढ़ेंगे हम. All right, so the list of topics. So once you have this list of topics, what you are supposed to do is you should go back and read these topics. The second is that take the papers, the same paper again, where you have gotten between 30 to 60 marks or somewhere around this range, and then you have to, what you have to do is, ideally on a pen and paper, re-attempt the paper. Now here you have to take care of few things when you are re-attempting the paper. First is that your goal should not be at recalling last attempt. What did I mark in the last attempt in this topic? All right, so your goal should not be to recall what you marked in the last attempt. Second is you should not, all right, do not recall what you marked in the last attempt. Second is do not recall key, that what was the right answer. What is, now don't do this. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to solve the question. All right, you're supposed to solve the question. So this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to solve the question in entirety. All right, by application of a fresh mind. You know what I'd say is by application of fresh mind. So here in the second time, if you're solving the question after usually a gap of, I would say 5 to 10 days, 5 to 8 days, actually not more than 5 to 7 days, you can say. So Sunday, if you're writing a simulator test, then next Sunday you write another test on Monday. All right, you attempt the paper and see how much you are scoring. If you are able to score 90% marks by having revised all those topics from which you could not answer the question, that is, you're getting around 180 or even 180 marks if you're getting, then you have technically conquered that paper, and this conquest is very important. जिस पेपर में the paper where you have scored 30 marks, 40 marks, 50 marks, 60 marks, you make a list of those topics and score 180 marks in the same paper with by solving the questions. This, if you are able to reach this 180 marks, then you have killed that paper, you have had a conquest over that paper. All right, and if you are, and let us say if you are not able to score 180 marks, we are able to score 110 marks this time. All right, we are again what you have to do is you have to make sure that you make a list of topics which you got wrong this time, and the questions that you did not attempt, and again read those topics. It means that you are not thorough. All right. However, in this attempt, you will already be knowing that what is the question asked, and you are not why you are not able to answer it even from the standard source. So you may refer to additional sources such as Wikipedia or whatever by doing the Google search on those topics and reading it from there. All right, and then you may attempt it a second time unless you are getting this 90% score or 180 marks. This is extremely crucial. I would say this is extremely crucial. So you have, if the first four tests that we have right now, or any four test, all right, simulator test one, you did not get good marks. You make a list of topics. You write the simulator test one again from the PDF. All right, from the PDF, and take a pencil, write the test. If you can get a printout, very good. If you can't get a printout because of the lockdown, then you attempt the paper, just on a A4 sheet, and you mark the you mark the choices, and then you see how you're performing. So if you do this first paper, whatever you have gotten, if you gotten 60 marks, second paper, if you've gotten 65 marks, re-attempt them until you're getting 180 marks. If you are able to do this procedure with 3 to 4 papers, trust me, your marks will skyrocket, because first you have conquered the papers psychologically from where you're not getting 60, where you're not getting good marks. All right, and second is because you have added to your knowledge base. So this is not the all that I wanted to discuss in this video. Subsequently, I'll in the next video I will discuss some of the mistakes and rules of the last days of preparation. All right, thank you so much, everyone.